My story is a story of God's discipline and my own rebelliousness. I met Christ for the first time in 7th grade. I grew up in a broken home, had lots of abuse in the family, grew up really poor, and had a lot of anger issues. And when I first met Christ, there was some life transformation, but I was going to churches that didn't teach the Bible. They taught their opinions and didn't encourage anyone to read for themselves. So I had a relationship with Christ that was rocky at best. I thought you could lose your salvation. I thought that God was always angry at me, a whole bunch of different things that made for a very rocky relationship with Christ. I hurt my shoulder playing a sport and had 3 shoulder surgeries and became addicted to the pain medicine as a result. I was in and out of jail. And my mom and sister found the Christian Care Center through a Google search. So I came here the first time, but while I was here, I faked my way through the program. But they did teach me a lot of Bible and taught me to search the scripture for myself and really helped me with a lot of my theology, but I was still too stubborn to really get a hold of it. 2 years later, I came back, and this time I was real about it and managed to stay clean and sober for 4 years. But I still had a lot of spiritual pride in my life. I had a lack of accountability. So after my wife miscarried and my mom died, I relapsed. And with no one to call, no one to help me, I spiraled out of control. I ended up in prison. And throughout my whole life, I got in trouble a lot, and I never recognized it for what it was, which was God's loving discipline drawing me back to himself. He needed to get a hold of me and let me know that it wasn't okay to be a child of God and act the way I was acting. But he did it out of love. Eventually, after my last prison sentence, I came to the Christian Care Center the following day. They graciously allowed me back. They taught me the value of humility. They taught me the value of serving Christ in a humble way and learning how to apply scripture to my life, not just learn it for the sake of knowledge, but to actually let it come into my life and change me from the inside out. I learned a lot of scripture, but the ones that really stuck with me were Romans 7:18 says, there's no good that dwells in me, that is in my flesh. John 15:5, apart from me, you can do nothing. I had to come to the end of myself, and I had to learn that all my pride had no place in front of an all-knowing, all-powerful God that was much bigger than I am. So my proper place in the universe is to be humble. And that's something I had to learn in order to become more successful. As for my future, I don't know what God has in store. I'm sure it's going to be some kind of ministry. Whether I have to sew tents to have time to minister, or whether I get to do it full time, I have no idea yet. But what I do know is that I'm going to spend the rest of my life serving and glorifying Him to the best of my ability.